I'm Alex Nichol. Welcome to the Playhouse. In our story, I played Todd Bradley, a young homesteader who goes out west in the last quarter of the 19th century. Like most homesteaders, Todd's life wasn't easy, but he was well on his way to success when an incident happened which threatened to change his whole future.
Evening, Todd. What's wrong?
Plenty, I'm afraid. Looks like a horse broke through the fence and fell into my well.
Oh, let's have a look. Well, one thing's for certain. I can stop looking for Mel's runaway yearling.
I was afraid of that. So it's one of Mel's, huh?
Yeah, he was setting great store by that colt. He was planning to enter him in the races next year.
A racehorse?
Yeah, that's what he was. Boss, your prize colt must have busted through Todd's fence. Probably was running full gait because he's laying down there in that surface well, drowned deader than a doornail.
I'm mighty sorry, Mel.
Todd will give you the lantern. You can see for yourself.
No, that's not necessary. I guess you know the law of the range, Todd. It's a man's responsibility to keep a well properly fenced.
I thought I built that fence strong enough.
I guess you thought wrong. You'll have to pay for that colt.
Stretching every penny, but... Well, I guess the selling price on yearling colts is about $50, $75 now.
That colt was a thoroughbred racing stock. It was worth $1,000.
$1,000?
That's right.
Where would I get hold of $1,000?
Well, that's your problem. You admit you know the law? It's obvious you've broken it. My colt's dead, and I should be paid for it. Suppose we meet over at Pete Hunter's tomorrow morning. Be any sort of unofficial judge of the territory, we can put the problem up to him and abide by his decision. Is that all right with you?
Yeah, it's all right.
Good. Let's go, Earl.
It don't look good, son. It don't look at all good for you. Now, where was you off to last night when this was all happening?
Oh, I've been working weekends and holidays in that new bridge the government's building across Big Rock Creek. Gives me a chance to lay up a few dollars toward putting up that new bedroom I've been wanting to add onto my house. That's why I ain't been around here much lately, much as I wanted to be.
Mother and I wondered what made you sort of a stranger. Thought maybe you and Sally had a kind of a spat.
Me and Sally? Oh, no, Mr. Hunter. We've never had words.
Well, Sally's high-spirited girl. She got a lot of get and go, that gal.
I know. She's been seeing a lot of Mel Dunlap lately, ain't she? I heard they went to the church sociable last week together.
Yes, well, they did. You know, Mel Dunlap's going to make some lucky girl a right nice husband. Good family, fine big ranch, and Plenty of money stashed away in a bank.
Yeah.
Why, Todd Bradley.
Morning, Mrs. Hunter.
If you ain't a sight for sore eyes. Breakfast will be ready as soon as you two men wash up.
Well, come on, son. I'll take you around to the washing up pump.
Sally will be right glad you dropped by, Todd. Sally? Oh, Sally?
Would you pass the bacon, please?
Yes, Pa.
Thank you.
I don't see how Mel Dunlap can hold you to paying for that colt.
Grace, it's the law of the range.
It don't make sense. There's a bigger law of human understanding, it seems to me.
Well, now, let's not get all riled up about it.
I do declare I'll be so glad when they get even a circuit rider judge in these parts. Most folks around here are of the opinion that Mr. Hunter's a regular Moses.
Now, Grace.
But it's true, Pa. Anybody with the least little grievance round here, and they come swarming to you like you was the whole Supreme Court rolled into one man.
We're lucky around here to have a man like Mr. Hunter decide our problems for us.
He can make mistakes, too. He's only human.
Well, I can't deny that, but we'll hear both sides as soon as Mel gets here. Mike, why don't you jump on your pony, ride over and see what's keeping Mel?
Sure. Be right back.
I swear that boy either leaves the door wide open or else he slams it almighty hard.
Todd, is there any reason, aside from the one you just mentioned, why you figure Mel won't give you an even break?
Well, yes, there is. It's a matter of the well itself. You see, 2 months ago when I dug it and struck good water, Mel offered to buy the rights. See, he needs more water, but I need every drop I've got, so I had to turn him down.
Well, what did he offer to buy the water rights for? The price, I mean.
Well, it was $1,000.
Exactly the same price he puts on his colt.
Todd, would you care for another helping?
Thanks, I ate so many now I almost bust. They're mighty good, though.
Todd, why don't you just go out on the porch and have yourself a smoke while we're waiting for Mel? See, Grace won't let us smoke here in the dining room, only in the parlor, and then when she's there to clean up the ashes.
Thanks. I believe I will.
Well, I'll clean up the table. Why don't you go out on the porch and keep Todd company?
Thanks, Mom.
Couldn't you see she was just a-dying to get out there with that young man?
Well, ain't she got a mind of her own?
Well, she knows you favor Mel Dunlap. It ain't likely she'd deliberately embarrass you, even for politeness' sake.
Well, I think it's just as obvious that you favor Todd.
What if I do? He's a nice, clean, hard-working young man.
Yeah, but Mel's got a big ranch house, fine herds of stock, and cash in the bank. Seemed to me he'd make a likelier husband for our girl.
What did you have when I married you? That's what I'd like to know.
Now, Grace...
Half the fun of getting married is starting out with practically nothing and then building everything up together. So you got something you really appreciate.
Well, now, just what do you got against Mel Dunlap?
Nothing. Not a thing. I just happen to like Todd better, that's all.
Todd, why have you been such a stranger?
I've been doing some extra work. I want to put that new room on my house. I guess I don't have to tell you why. Oh, I've been wanting to ask you, Sally. Will you go to the Territorial Day dance with me Saturday after next?
Oh,
What's the matter? Can't you go?
Mel already asked me.
I see. I thought maybe 2 weeks practically in advance was plenty time enough.
Mel asked me over a month ago.
Well, then, that's that.
I haven't given him my answer yet, definitely. I was kind of hoping. Oh, Todd, why do you take things so easy like? Why don't you fight back once in a while? A girl doesn't like to see a man she cares for just sort of sit back and let everybody walk all over him.
I thought that...
Yes, Todd. Go ahead, say it.
I thought that you... Mel coming. Guess I better go in the parlor.
Whatever you say is all right by me, Mr. Hunter. That's what Todd and I agreed on last night, and I'll stand by that. I'll admit it was tough luck for this to happen to you, Todd, but, well, your fence was none too strong.
He's right. I just think his price of $1,000 for the colt is too high.
Well, let's figure it out. Stud fee alone cost me $500. Cost me over $100 to ship the mare to Minnesota for breeding. That's $600 right there. Say nothing of what it costs to feed and raise a colt for a year.
Guess I have to agree with him. When you count it up, the colt must have been worth all of $1,000.
Well, Mel, maybe you could spread the debt out over a period of time.
Well, maybe
No, sir. I can't take on a debt like that now. Since I owe you the money, I'll pay it in full cash. If I'm at fault, I'll make good my fault.
But Todd...
Don't fret about me, Mrs. Hunter. Thanks for the breakfast. All your kindness.
I'm sorry. There's nothing else I can do. Oh, the law is the law.
You men. When a law has been outmoded, it should be changed or written off the books entirely. How do you suppose this country has grown like it has if people weren't willing to admit they'd outgrown old laws? Todd, why don't you fight back?
What are you doing there, Jeff? What have you gone and dug up? Morning, Sally. Can I help you?
Thanks.
What gets you up so early? This is kind of unexpected.
That's one of the troubles with you, Todd. You never expect anything from others. Not even the expected. I came by to see what you're going to do about all this.
Why? Why'd you go to all the trouble?
If you can't guess, Todd, I'm certainly not going to tell you.
You mean you're interested in what I may have to do?
I guess that ought to tell you better than any words how really interested I am in what you do.
Do you mean that?
I just wanted to show you that I really believe in you, and I'm ready to stand by. But I won't stick, Todd. Not unless you stand up and fight for yourself. And me.
And you?
That's what I said. So what are you going to do?
What else can I do? The only way I can pay for the loss of the horse is to sign over the water rights.
Is it what you want to do?
You know better than to ask that. I dug that well myself. A lot of hard work and real good luck went into it before I struck sweet water.
If it isn't what you want to do, why do you fall right in with what Mel wants you to do?
Name me another thing I can do.
Haven't you got all your planting done? Haven't you got some nice, well-fed livestock in the barn?
Sure, but I can't sell them if I want to keep farming.
I'm not talking about selling. But with security like that, I should think that Mr. Forster in the bank in town would give you a loan. Wouldn't he?
I don't know. I never even thought of that.
Well, look, I'll talk to Pa about it. He'll ride into town with you if you like. Pa fancies himself as a good Samaritan around these parts anyhow. Besides, it'd please him to do something for you.
Are you sure? I always kind of figured he favored Mel Dunlap over me.
Doesn't matter whom he favors. What's important is whom I favor.
I take it these listed assets, the planted acreage and livestock, the ranch house and ranch equipment, and of course the well, are intact and as stated here?
Yes, Mr. Forster, they are. The well's all cleaned out and fine for livestock.
Well, on paper, your assets look all right. But from the bank's point of view, there isn't enough collateral here to justify a $1,000 loan. Storms might wipe out your crops. A plague of animal disease could take your entire livestock. I'm sorry. All my bank could loan you would be $500.
$500 isn't enough, Mr. Forster.
Well, Ed, if you were to make Todd here a private loan with me signing as personal guarantor, could that be done?
Well, yes, if you were to. Aren't you listening, Mr. Bradley? Didn't you hear the offer Pete just made on your behalf?
Oh, I'm very sorry, sir. I'm afraid I wasn't listening.
Pete has just offered to guarantee you a personal loan.
Mr. Hunter, I'm deeply obliged to you, but I can't accept your offer under the circumstances. I guess you understand how it is. So if you'll have Mr. Forster here or your lawyer draw up a deed of transfer, I'll sign over my water rights to Mel Dunlap first thing in the morning.
Well, I hate to see you do that, boy.
Or maybe you can ask Mel's hired man, Earl, to be there, too. A party from his side of the question ought to witness the deed. And perhaps you can sign for me, Mr. Hunter.
Very well, if that's the way you want it.
It's the only way it can be now. Oh, thanks for all your trouble and kindness, both of you.
Well, I must say, I've never seen an applicant for a loan act like that.
I don't understand.
He must want out. Sally, if I may say so, may consider herself a very lucky young lady, finding out how changeable he is now rather than later.
Never knew Todd to be late before.
Yes, he's the promptest young man I ever did know.
I don't understand it. After all, it was his idea we meet here this morning.
Well, I don't mind waiting. Sally makes a fine cup of coffee.
Mother made it. Nothing beats Mother's coffee.
I don't see how anybody like Todd, with all the back-breaking work and high hopes he put into that ranch, can give up.
Well, ma'am, that's sure what he's of a mind to do.
I don't believe that. He's just got to find a way. It's like holding a wake. It's not fair. It's...
Well, here's Todd now.
Sorry to keep you folks waiting.
It's all right, son. Sit down. Got the deed of transfer here. Maybe you better read it.
Todd, would you care for some hot coffee?
No, thanks, Sally. I had several cups of my own making this morning. Sort of ruined my taste for coffee. I was up before dawn. Seems like another one of your colts got out last night, Mel. It was grazing up near the well fence.
Did you know a colt jumped the corral fence, Earl?
This is news to me. Everything was right and proper this morning. Which colt was it?
Pure white.
Snowflake, my best jumper.
And don't get yourself riled up, Mel. The horse tried to get into the well enclosure. The fence held, fixed up as it was. I brought him along with me. That's why I was a little late. He's out there now, tied up at the hitching post.
Well, if he's going to clear that height, we'd better build up those corral bars.
Yeah, you're right, boss. I'll do it as soon as I get back.
Thanks for returning that colt to me, Todd.
No trouble at all. Well, this all seems right to the point and legal-like. Do you have a pen?
Todd, I want to do it. Just give up.
There's nothing else I can do.
I see.
As I understand it, if I sign this, in exchange for the water rights, which I'll be deeding Mel, I own the horse. Is that right?
Well, yes. Technically, I suppose that's right.
I just wanted to know how I stood before I signed. Well, I guess you can sign, Mel. And Mr. Hunter and Earl can sign as witnesses.
There's just one thing I don't understand, Todd. What in tarnation do you want the body of a horse for?
I got an idea buzzing around in my head.
Well, I can't for the life of me see what you should have for a dead horse, son.
Don't you worry about it at all, sir. Now, Earl, if you'll sign, everything will be on the dotted line, as they say. Oh, yeah. Been meaning to give this to you, Earl. It's yours, ain't it? It's got your initials on it, E.S.
Sure, that's yours, Earl. I gave it to you myself for a present last year.
Yeah, it is. Where'd you find it?
My dog dug it up near where the well fence was broken.
Oh, I must have dropped it the night I rode over when you discovered the colt in your well.
Maybe. Well, I gotta haul that colt's carcass into town before noon.
Why, Todd? Why go to all that trouble?
I'm gonna take it into the vet. I want to make sure for myself the colt died of drowning. If there's water in that horse's lungs, then I'll know for sure he actually drowned in my well. I gotta be going.
Well, now, wait a minute, Todd. You mean you figure that colt wasn't drowned?
Well, I got kind of a suspicion gnawing at me.
Like what?
There's plenty of feed and water this time of the year on your property, Mel. No reason for that colt to head for my land at all. I'm not sure that horse was alive when he went into the well.
Now, Todd, how could a dead colt crash through a wire fence and fall into a well?
And just suppose your colt died through someone else's negligence, and that person was afraid for his job. Wouldn't be hard at all for him to knock down the fence, pry the wires loose with his jackknife, and dump the horse into my well, all to hide his own guilt.
Seems like you're being accused, Earl. What have you got to say in your defense?
That don't prove nothing. It's all guesswork.
That's right, but I've got some facts. I lowered that top corral bar last night myself, Mel, and put it back after the white colt jumped the fence. I took that chance on my own. Then I chased the colt over to my place. But he didn't bust through my fence, weakened as it was.
That still don't prove nothing. Different horses act different.
I know. That's why I'm hauling that colt's carcass into town. To see the vet. That'll prove something.
Well, Earl, why don't you speak up? Is that the way it happened? You've got your chance to talk now. Either you speak up for yourself or hightail it back to my ranch and start packing. If you've done a thing like this, I want you off my property before sundown.
Well, I never.
Oh, Todd, you figured it out. You stood up for yourself.
Sally, you'd better come with me. This calls for a celebration. We'll cut right into that big chocolate cake I baked this morning.
Well, son, you sure figured that out. Congratulations.
Well, thanks, Todd. You know, you've done me a big favor. Earl's only been with me a year, but he knew he was in line for the foreman's job. I never thought he'd do a sneaky thing like that just to protect himself.
Sorry about the colt, Mel.
No fault of yours, Todd.
Doesn't it look good?
Looks mighty good to me.
Well, I reckon the best man has already won.
Sit down, everybody.
Thank you.
Boy, oh boy, cake!
I swear this youngster can smell cake a mile away. All right, Mike, pull up a chair.
Here, dear.
Thank you. Sally.
This is Alex Nickel once again. Thanks for being with us on this Playhouse presentation of No Trial by Jury. I hope you'll be with us again next week for another story and a new star. So long till then.